Welcome to another video. Today's topic is SURDS Part 1, the 6 basic rules. Rule number 1, square root A times square root B. This will give you square root A times B, which is square root AB. So for example, if you had square root 2 times the square root 3, this would be square root 2 times 3, which would be square root 6. Okay, if you had square root 5 times square root 7, this would be square root 5 times 7, which would be square root 35. Okay, now you can also go the other direction. Okay, if you have square root 12, this would be square root 4 times 3, which would be square root 4 times square root 3, and this would equal to 2 square root 3, because square root 4 is 2, so this will be 2 times square root 3, which is 2 square root 3. Again, if you had square root 36, okay, we know that this is 6, okay, because 6 times 6 is 36. But if you apply this rule, you could actually get 6 as well in another way. So square root 36 equals square root 9 times 4. And this would be square root 9 times square root 4. And this would equal to 3 times 2, which is 6. Okay, by splitting the number like this. Rule number 2. Square root A over square root B equals square root A over B. So if you had square root 1 over square root 2, this would be square root 1/2. Okay? If you had square root 8 over square root 2, this would be square root 8 over 2, which would be square root 4. Because 8 over 2, you just do 8 divided by 2, which is 4, and then square root 4 would give you 2. Okay, because 2 times 2 is 4. Again, if you had square root 32 over square root 2, this will be square root 32 over 2, which would equal to square root 16, which is 4. Rule number 3. A plus B equals nothing else. Now, the reason why I wrote this is because A plus B is the simplest form. Okay, you cannot do this. Okay, square root A plus square root B does not equal square root A plus B. Okay, it doesn't work with addition. Okay, it's not the same thing. Okay, this is the simplest form, and you can't go any simpler than that. Rule number 4. So A squared plus square root B. A squared plus square root B all squared, okay, would not give you A squared plus B. Okay, this is completely wrong. Instead, you would have to go through this method. Okay, now if you want to get this, if you want to use this method, you have to do, well, I mean, you don't have any options. So you would have to expand this, and to expand this, you would get A squared, A times A. So you do A times A, and then A times square root B, so plus A square root B, and then square root B times A, so plus A square root B, and then square root B times square root B, which is plus B. Collect the like terms, so A squared plus 2A square root B plus B, which is not this. Okay, so this is completely wrong. This is the answer. So for example, let's say you had 3 plus square root 8 all squared. You apply this method, so you apply this rule, sorry. So this will be square root, this will be 3 plus square root A times 3 plus square root 8. Then you expand the brackets, so 9, 3 times 3, and then 3 times 8, so plus 3 times 8, and then another plus 3 times 8, and then plus 8. Collect the like terms, so 9 plus 6 square root 8 plus 8. This one's a bit funny. And there you go. This will be your answer for this one. Rule number 5. So A plus square root B times a plus times a minus square root b, which will be this. So if you have any sort of question, okay, where you have to expand a bracket that looks like this, okay, you can use this rule straight away so that you don't expand the bracket or anything else. For example, if you had 3 square root 2, 3 plus square root 2 times 3 minus square root 2, okay, you expand the brackets, this will give you 9 minus 2, which is 7. How did I calculate this? By simply using this rule. Okay, you have a plus, a minus, and you have the same a and same b. Okay, it's in this form basically. So you quickly square root the a, you quickly square the a, which will give you 9, and then you square the 2, which would give you 2. The sign will be minus, so you do 9 minus 2 equals 7. It's just a quick tip for your exam. You know, when you don't have enough time, you just use this rule. Now for this one's slightly trickier. Okay, so if you had a over plus b and you want to rationalize the denominator, so turn an irrational denominator to a rational denominator. Okay, so to do this, if you had, let's say, 3 over square root 2, using this rule, you would times this by the denominator, okay, the square root. So you times this by using the square root 2, and you times 3 over square root 2 by square root 2 over square root 2. And then this would give you 3 square root 2 over 2. And that's how you, and this is a rationalized denominator. Okay, it's a whole number. Again, if you had 3 over square root 5, you do the same thing. So you multiply by square root 5 over square root 5, and then this will give you 3 square root 5 over 5. Anyways, that's it for this video. These are the 6 rules. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you in the next video.